Hey everyone, it's Desiree, and I am here with another design team project for Rubber Stamp Tapestry. And for today's project, we are going to use their peg stamp set called Wild Floral. Now, just a note on this, I'm not sure how this happened, but I lost the first leg of this video, which is this part that I'm filming right now. Yeah, so I'm going to go through it again so that you can see, because of course it's all the coloring, it's the stamping. Yeah, so I'm going to go through that again. So if you see a slight difference in the card, that's why. But I want to make sure that you saw that. Okay, so you can see, so now let's get back to our regularly scheduled program here. So you can see with this peg stamp, there are 5. You have a large open floral, you have a butterfly, a solid greenery, a smaller greenery, and then an even finer greenery. So I'm not going to be using the butterfly. I'm going to be focusing on these 4. I'm going to be using a piece of Bristol cardstock. This is my Canson XL, because I am going to use my Derwent watercolor pencils to color in these images. Okay, so I'm also going to use my Simon Says Stamp Intense Black. So it's going to be a little bit different stamping that I'm going to do. I'm going to pull down my scratch pad. And what I'm actually going to use with these to blend is an Arteza clear blender. Now, these were sent to me by Arteza to be open and to let you know. And these come from the TwiMarker collection. I guess that's how you say that. Okay, so you can buy these individually, and when you do, you're going to get 4 in a box. Now, these are water-based. Okay, they have 2 ends. They have a great brush end, and then they have a bullet tip. So we're going to use the brush end. All right, and again, these are water-based, so I like to use a blender along with a watercolor brush or a brush with water to blend these. It's quick. You don't have to pull out a brush. You don't have to make sure your watercolor brush is filled. You don't have to get, you're not grabbing so many things. The only thing you're grabbing when you're using this is you want to make sure that you have a piece of scrap paper to clean it between each color. So let me put that aside. Let me put these here, and let's do our stamping first. So again, I'm going to be using the Simon Says Intense Black ink. So let me grab a couple more things and we'll be right back. Okay, so now I have all of my supplies here. So again, I really do like the Simon Says Stamp Intense Black. Now, here's what's funny. I don't think it's an intense black. I think it is an awesome gray, dark gray. I like to use this if I'm not doing a no-line coloring image for my colored pencil or my watercolor or anything else, but I do want to see the outline of an image. This is my go-to because it is a soft black. Again, I am not saying this is horrible. I absolutely love this. So just want to make sure I explain that. Okay, so here is my card. This piece is cut to 4 inches by 5 1/4. And I am going to start with the flowers. Now again, keep in mind, I lost this footage. So the card might be different. I have the card off to the side here. I'm going to try to stamp the same thing. I doubt I'm going to be able to, but hey, we can try. So I'm going to stamp, and I'm just going to get myself ready. Remember, you have the registry here that tells you how that stamp is going to look and how you can just keep turning it to get different views of that stamp. All right, so I want to move here. I am comfortable when the stamp pad's on to my right. And here we go. So I'm going to come down here, going to turn, going to come up here, come here, go there, 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 there. Oh yeah, already different. We're going to come over there, and then we'll put a small one right there. And then we're going to keep on stamping down. So yeah, already looks different. But again, that's something that is awesome. You know, again, and I'm actually going to add it to the video before we go on to the next part. So, ooh, this is awesome. Okay. Now I'm going to move on to the solid image. And yes, I'm going to continue to use the black ink. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm definitely going to use this registry because I'm going to try not to cross into the flower. So there's going to be a lot of turning that I'm going to do with each of these pieces. And you can see just by knowing, and because I have that registry, I know how this image is going to look when it stamps. So I am actually really utilizing that functionality. So now I'm going to turn it here, and you can see I'm just adding one image to each of the flowers. And there we go. And probably my head was in the way, so I apologize for that. Now I'm going to come in with the open greenery image. And again, going to do the same thing. Really going to use that registry line so I know where the image is. Again, our stamping does not need to be perfect, but you do want to make sure that you're going straight up and down so that you get an accurate image. And you can see I'm just also looking at, okay, where do I need to fill in? How do I want the images to flow? Okay, so we've got that one. And now I'm going to come in with the last one. And again, I just like to stamp first just to get the feel. And you can also keep it steady in your hand. So as I'm doing that, I'm realizing, okay, that's what that piece is going to look like, how it's in my hand. So by turning the paper, now I'm going to get this different look. So I keep turning. And it's okay that I crossed over in an image. It's going to happen. And just getting these different flows. And then I want one more right there. Okay, so now we have all of the images colored or stamped. All right, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to come in with my color pencils. Let me zoom in. And I think what I'm going to do is I want to get you a little closer so that you can see. And all I'm going to do is put color, and I'm going to move in small circles. You do not have to be neat with this. And I'm just going to add a little bit of color in the center. Not too much, because you don't need a lot. Use a light hand. Now, these are not the Inktense pencils, okay? Now, don't get me wrong. You could use the Inktense pencils as well. Use what you have in your stash. But I'm just keeping it down towards the bottom. All right, now I'm going to come in with my next color. Again, small circles using a light pressure. When you use a light pressure, that's also going to make it easier to move the pigment so that I don't have this harsh line that's sitting there. But that's also the beauty of a blender pencil. Okay, you don't have to, continuously go back. It does do a really great job of getting down into the paper to get this pigment moving. And again, I just want my shaded area on the inside or towards the center of each of these flowers. You can go into the details and put it within each petal if you wanted to, but not necessary. Just going to continue to add. Now I'm coming in with a purple. So I chose like a coral red, a peach, and a blue for these. All right, and I'm going to come in and I'm going to put my peach here. And I'm going to put my red. No, I'm going to put another purple here. Okay, so that's all of our colors. Again, really quick, only took a couple of minutes to put those colors down. Now I'm going to come in with our TwiMarker. That's what I'm going to call it, or Twi. And I'm going to just start blending. Let's see, should I get you in here a little bit more? There we go. And I'm going to start in the center. I'm going to move in circular motions. And I'm going to start moving from that center and continue out to get rid of some of the color. Just going to clean it off on my paper and then stick in the white area so that I can smooth out that line. And again, continuing to move that color. So I'm going to do all the purples so that I don't have to, continuously clean. I do want to remove some of the pigment, again, because I do want to have a highlighted area at the tip of each of the petals. So again, I go right into that pigment to move it out, and then I start coming out to move that pigment so that it's lighter on the outside. I'm going to do my last purple ones. Again, coming out, continuing to spiral out in circular motions. Sometimes you don't have to, color depends upon how intense you want that color. Now I'm going to do the blues. And again, continuing to circle. And you want to be quick, because the more that you stay in the one area, you have an opportunity. Use a light hand because you can pill the paper. So you can see I'm really moving around quickly and getting right out to that outside and not staying in one area. Now that I'm done with the blues, I'm going to go on my scratch paper to make sure I don't have that pigment in the brush. And again, I'm going to continue to scroll around the outside. So I start in the inside, keep turning. It's almost like creating circles and you keep getting bigger and bigger and bigger with your doodle. Now here I'll just keep going back and forth. I'm going to turn this. And you can see how quick this is. And you get some really pretty effects. Could you use multiple colors? Yes, you absolutely can use multiple colors. And they will blend absolutely beautiful. So I do like these blenders. Now I also am a fan of the Stampin' Up! Blenders and the Dove. Now to me, you know, your Dove is awesome because it's refillable. You can change, you know, fix the nibs. You can see I've got these pilling pieces here. You want to be careful. Don't brush against your page because that has pigment on it. And if you do that, you will move that pigment right across your page. Again, we're just going to keep on going. And I believe that is all of my flowers. I always like to make sure I clean it off until it's clear. Now you should use a white sheet of paper because it's a lot better to see, you know, when it's clear. I make sure I put the cap on. And that is what our panel looks like. And I'll be right back because I want to zoom. Well, let's see. I think I can do that now. Oh, yes, I can. There we go. Now we are zoomed right back out. Now, before we go back into the video that I have already, I'm going to, you'll see that I've created masks and everything else for this. This is the card that's actually shown in the video. So remember what I always say. It doesn't matter if you have the same supplies or not. You could have the same exact supplies, same exact technique. Here we have the same exact person. I have two different panels and I was attempting to copy it, but they are extremely different. You can see the stamping went off in the stamping. Again, it's impossible to have the exact mirror images, but each one of these is a piece of art. Each one is unique in its own way and will be able to produce a beautiful result. So maybe it was good that I lost this footage. So let's continue on in the videos, and I'm sorry if there's a break in the speech and everything else, but as always, enjoy. And we are back. Yes, that's the beauty. Now, what I want to do too, I want to add some more colors. So I like the white background, but I just want a little bit more color. So now I'm going to go crazy with a bunch of masks. Yes, I did. I actually masked all of these, and I'm hoping I have enough, which I don't believe I do. Now, if I find, because I fight with masks, I mean getting the release paper off, although I'm doing pretty well so far. I'm going to focus on the full ones first because I don't think I have enough, but that's okay. So my favorite masking paper, or the masking paper that I gravitate to more, I just really like it. I like the top. I haven't had any ink bleed through on it. I make sure I mark what side to stamp on and what side I shouldn't stamp on, because that's the only thing. There's not an identifier mark on that, which is fine. I mean, I can always... Took me a while to remember to do that, but I finally started doing it. Is the Simon Says masking paper. I really like it. My ink doesn't smear. Look, I am a messy crafter. I really do not think ahead. You know, I don't think, hey, this ink might still be wet, or hey, this might smudge across. You know, I will always say to you guys to do that, but me, myself, I will always forget, because it's just what I do. Do as I say, don't do as I do. But I just like the texture of it. I just think it works really, really well. And I do get great results when it comes to that. It takes water well, and you'll see what I mean by that with what I'm about to show you. Now, some of them are not. I'm not sure I'm going to have them covered up, but I can fix that. I will show you what you can use in a pinch. Now, I used the Post-its, either regular Post-its. That's where I started, or regular Post-its, and then I moved into the full coverage back Post-its. They work just as well. They're my go-to as well. If I run out of my Simon Says masking paper, that is what I grab for. Again, I'm not putting down any of the other masking papers at all. I just, because of my mind, these have given me some great results. All right, yeah, so I'm missing two, which is okay, because I am going to grab some of my trusty dusty Post-its. Okay, and I'm just going to grab for the corners. So these are just little tiny strips. And what I'm going to do is just cover that corner, because that's all I need to do. And I'm just going to cover that like that. And plus it's going to hold my piece in place. And then I'm going to take another one and put that like that. Okay. Let me push those out of my way. So I'm going to pull in my Vintage Pastel from Prima. It's a beautiful watercolor palette. Very soft, muted colors. And I'm going to use Breezy. I really liked that shade when it came to these colors. And I'm going to grab my watercolor brush. Get some pigment on my brush. I am going to water it down. Now remember, I used my VersaFine black ink, and it is waterproof. Okay, so remember that. Yeah, you can tell I'm just doing that. Yes, this is perfect for watercolors. And all I want to do is I'm just going to do some scratches along the sentiment. I don't want it to be neat. But I want it to look like paint. And you can tell I'm going over those flowers too. So, and you can see it's just holding up. And I just want this to fade off into that background. Now, why would I also cover those up? Well, because we've got to add some splatters. And I want to clean that off. I'm going to add some white splatters. You knew that was coming, right? Can't do that off to the side there. Add some water, but I am going to make them soft, you know, nothing too harsh. Again, I want this to have a very vintage feel, but I don't want it to go over my my flowers. I'm okay with it going everywhere else. All right. So let's clean that off. We'll move this out of the way. Oh my God, I've got white splatters going all over now. All right, we'll clean that off. See, messy. I'm gonna move my pieces here. I'm gonna lift this up and we're just gonna clean that off real quick because, yeah, that's a mess waiting to happen. What do you think? Okay. Now I will show you the reveal. Now what I'm gonna, now actually, you know what? We're gonna come right back. I'm gonna let this dry. I want this to dry naturally. And I don't want to fiddle with it. So we will be right back once that's dry. Nothing's gonna move.